Welcome back to another live session with Paintology, the drawing app that you can get from the Google Play Store, and it's free, and it has many tutorials to teach you about painting and drawing. Now, most people, so I'm going to open up the app because you can see from here. This is the home screen of the app. I'm not going through the app itself. If you want to learn more about what the app is capable of, please go through some of the drawings on the YouTube channel. So I'm not going to talk about um, drawing in the sense that I have been drawing with the app. I'm going to talk something more general, which is the word painterly. Apparently, I've come across that word when I was going through the my stats for Paintology, and I found painterly is a word that crops up now and then. And this got me to start thinking what that actually means. And my the meaning of the word painterly to me actually means that whatever you look at, a visual drawing or a painting, it has a painterly feel to it, meaning it has been painted. Like, for example, impasto would be a form of a painterly. And I'm going to show you this traditional drawing I did, painting I did a few years ago. You can see it's based on, it's inspired by Monet, and it hangs on my sister's living room wall. And you can see here it's done with knives, an impasto effect. So I use knife to create this. So it's a painterly effect, but nevertheless, it gives the illusion of form. And I will show you, oops, where am I going with this? And I'll show you a website, Draw Paint Academy. This gives a very good overview of what Painterly is. It's very short and sweet and to the point. And I will post a link in my YouTube description of this session. And it essentially just goes on to say that the bigger brushes give the effect of illusion. Like, look at this drawing, it's very nice, right? It gives the illusion of sunlight, but yet the strokes are so broad. Look at that. It's almost meaningless when you go down to it. So this isn't a good example, and there are some more examples of painterly effects giving the illusion. And Vincent van Gogh, Monet, Cézanne, they were all masters of painterly. This one I'm particularly fond of because it captures, the strokes captures the essence of this particular scene with the stream and the light falling on the left side with that tree. It just captures everything, and it's been done ineffectively by the artist who's trying to portray something without making it look too photographic, like photorealism. And a lot of people talk about photorealism, and even though the person mentions the photorealism, a lot of actually commentators say that photorealism is not the end goal, but I would reword it differently. Photorealism is should be an end goal in the sense that it teaches you techniques. It develops your techniques. If you think about drawing, what are you trying to achieve with drawing? You can let's say you have a bowl of fruits in your drawing, right? And if you do, if one person draws it almost close to the real thing, that's like pretty close to the photorealism, then you can argue that he's a good artist. And so his skills or her skills are fully developed in photorealism. And I can take you to in my drive. Let me see where my drive is. Got my drive, yeah, there. So that's the photorealism, but this is not photorealism, it's painterly in the sense that it gives the essence of someone having painted on it, yeah. But if I now turn to digital and digital, where it's considered vastly different to most people's mindset, and since I've been working on Paintology for a while now, I want to dismiss those notions that they think that digital cannot be painterly. I would argue against that. It can be very painterly, and I'll show you some examples. Here's one. Here's one. This was done on a canvas on my Galaxy tablet. That you would mistake it as being painterly, right? You would argue. Yeah. So another one I'll show you. This one. Very early, I did that very long time ago. This one, painterly, yeah? Using the Paintology app. In fact, this one has actually been licensed out to a person who's written a book. They put this on their book cover. And then let me take you another one. This one I posted on Quora, and the person many comments, and they said that I know it's digital, but I can't help thinking it looks like a artwork done with brushes. So it can be painterly, and I can show you many more examples of that, but I would prefer that you. So these are all drawings that I've done, and I'm going to show you one where you say photo realistic. So this one I did on my phone with the brush, with the shade brush, and as you can see, it looks photorealistic. And one can achieve this, and one should strive to achieve photorealism because it is the Grand Prix of all drawing skills. If you can reach a level of photorealism, you're pretty much you're pretty much got techniques and skills down, and to be more creative than anyone else if you so wish. So so I would argue against a lot of people who say you're wasting your time doing hyperrealism. I would agree with them on hyperrealism because it's not done in a painterly fashion. It's more done by pixel by tones. But drawings like this, photorealism, is, in my opinion, the development of skills at a Grand Prix level, at an exceptionally high level. And if you can get that down, can you imagine how much control and creativity you will have in any other forms of art, including painterly type, like I've shown you what I did with Monet. So here's something I don't know if I can relate with a lot of artists. When I draw on a smaller scale, I tend to be detailed and I can be more photorealistic. And then when I draw at a larger canvas, I bring my knife out, big brushes, and I can be very painterly. But that's not to say you can't be painterly on digital, which examples I've shown you already. So let's talk about this drawing digitally, painterly with Paintology. So let me show you a drawing I did yesterday, which got me into the painterly, my paintings. Let me go here. So this was a drawing I did. Sorry, not this one. You see here my drawing? This was a painterly drawing. I consider it painterly because I'm not using anything else, just one brush, adjusting the brush size and adjusting the opacity, density, and hardness. And then I'll post a video of this, but you can see the original reference image I used. It's nothing like the reference image. And so the reason I created this in a painterly fashion is that I used my imagination and experience to get the effects. And as I was painting it or drawing it using my finger, I noticed that on the left side I wanted to create the illusion or form of rocks. You can see on there, illusion form. So that brings out the your skill sets of what your idea of form of rocks were and how you would apply it in a painterly fashion to these set of rocks. And similarly, the water, as I was drawing, I created a sort of a river bank, and we can see in the other side, it's not quite the same, is it? But I created a form river bank, and again, it sort of pushed me towards colors I wouldn't necessarily pick, but I did anyway. And then it gave me the basis of applying my own tonal colors to it. These form of trees, I was using bigger brush strokes and the smaller brush strokes, but at the same time paying attention to tones. And tones, as you know, are fundamental to drawing and painting. So in the foreground, if you understand about painting and drawing to give the illusion of depth, I used a sharper, so basically increased. I understood the operation of the brushes, increase it to a higher level, so it gives it more hardness, harsher tone to bring out the natural look of depth, giving the illusion of depth because there are harsher tones in the front and more detail. So this immediately gives the illusion of depth and going. And this soft tone on the mountain, as you can see, is sets back behind the line of trees to give the illusion of distance as well. So that's like factual evidence you get in painting or any other painting classes or books, right? And and so when you apply these skills, don't be dismissive. I wanna say something about painting and drawing. Never be dismissive of one medium or another. If you are, then you're basing it on hearsay or other people and not actual experience. I don't dismiss digital, as you can see. In fact, I really enjoy digital, and I don't draw digitally like the many others who use digital tools to create something. I use Paintology in a painterly fashion, meaning I'm going to draw, but if I can continue to draw in a painterly fashion and go that much further, I can make any look some things look realistic. Yeah, drawings. I'll show you other drawing here. Let me show you this one of Emily Blunt. This one I painted on this phone again using my finger. Again, wasn't trying to make it look photorealistic. In fact, it was exactly the opposite when I was doing these paintings of portraits. So you probably see some of them, and then there's one you can recognize of Tom Cruise, and then this David Beckham. So and here Simon Cowell. So these are portraits I've done, Will Smith. And my idea for drawing that, again, have a goal in mind when you paint and draw, and don't be dismissive. I was at first dismissive of photorealism, as like many of you, and then I realized that that just curtails my drawing ability and drawing techniques and experience. So 3, 4 years ago, I gave it a shot, and you can see it's you can see, but this is a recent one. You can see how if I wanted to do a photorealism, I would, and you can see some of one of my earliest, which happens to be this emerald It was my, it was a drawing, sorry. It was an actual drawing of the famous Marcello, I think. He did it with traditional, and I did it using the Paintology drawing app. So this is my first one. This was done 3, 4 years ago. I just gave it a try. And then, honestly, to tell you about the experience, I was actually very surprised that I could reach that level of photorealism with, and what this shocking thing was, I just needed to extend my skill just that bit more. So if I wanted to have the painterly effect, like most people talk about, leave it as is. Okay, let's say I did a painting and drawing that I wanted to leave as is, just to give the effect of drawing, painting that was done by a human, you know, done by an artist. I just needed to extend it by a third more effort. Can you believe it? So if I did this and left it with my previous notions of painterly paintings and not and is being dismissive of photorealism, I would have put, let's say, an hour. And then if I reached this photorealism, I would have added another hour or even half an hour. Do you see my point? It was just extending that skill set to make it look photorealistic and having that goal in mind. So you do not, as an artist, never be dismissive of other mediums. You should try all the mediums, and honestly, you should try the digital medium. Do not dismiss it on the basis of people saying that it requires technical mastery. Trust me, it does not. And I use 2 brushes here to make this drawing. Is another, and then I continue to make a range of photorealism drawing, as you can see here. So that's, I just want to let you know, if you're reading the article on the painting, keep that in mind. Never be dismissive. Oh yeah, everyone goes on about, that's people, they have a wow factor when they see hyperrealistic drawing, and they don't understand the process, and they never will unless they engage in it. I'm a practitioner of art, and I will do art in the way I think is is going to extend my knowledge and ability and creativity. So that's what I'll do. So, having said that, we're going to sit down and make a drawing that is painterly, yeah, to show you the techniques of painterly art on your phone or digital or a tablet, and using the Paintology drawing app. So let's go right away, and let me let's load a painting, a reference painting, a reference image, I would say, not a painting. We're not taking Monet's, lilies or anything, and then using that technique. That's not really what painting and drawing is all about. The painting and drawing is about realism in the real sense. When I say realism, you're basically trying to mimic the real world around you, be it abstract, expressionistic, or a form. It is your own way of tailoring an art piece that represents you. Okay, so if I spent like a half an hour yesterday trying to download images that could be of painterly effect. So I love landscapes, as you can see. So these are a lot of images I cropped and downloaded, and you can do the very same. So I'm going to pick something from here, and we're going to do a painterly drawing of that. So let's see what this one looks like. Yeah, that looks really lovely, doesn't it? What do you think? I think I should go ahead and do that. Why not? Okay. So let's create our own painterly version of this drawing, of this image, real image. Okay. So I'm going to load it. First of all, you need to load it in. Where was that image? Oh, there it is. Load it in Trace. Okay. So we're going to load it in Trace in the Paintology app. And then we're going to look at it. Let's look at it and say, okay, brush. The tools are unimportant at this stage in time. And you're going to say, well, what kind of, how are you going to tackle this? And here comes the drawing process. If you start evaluating and thinking how the painting is going to end up, it will be, the painting will end up based on a set of experience, skill sets that you have combined with your idea and representation of the real life, of this painting, of this image. So that's what it will be. If you have techniques well honed, you could turn this. If I wanted to now, I could say, yeah, I'm gonna use block coloring in the Paintology and turn this into photorealistic, almost photorealistic, and that's also a form of art. You could do that, and that describes your skill sets having matured and developed. Or you could say, I'm going to do a Painterly effect, and like I told you, Painterly effect leaves the illusion of form, gives the illusion of form, but while it's been done by someone real. And the problem is there are a lot of dismissive ideas that digital isn't painter isn't really art itself, which is nonsense. It's everything is art. The way I use digital is art. Everything is art. If you draw a line, if you draw a line here, that is art. That's how the art world sees this. Okay, a line here. That is a piece of art. Draw another one. That is a piece of art. Why not? Why shouldn't be? It's unique to you. The way this line bends is unique to you and the speed at which I do it. But anyway, I won't go into that too much detail. I will talk about now how to get this into a painterly type, which means not photorealistic, but the very similar to these paintings that the great masters have done. Can have mastered, has given us these beautiful paintings that we adore so much, yeah, like this one. So we're gonna first start off with a broad stroke. That's how I always tend to do that. And then we first decide on the size, and then you could argue, well, why do you keep this percentage at 70% and not all the way to 100%? Well, there's a reason for that. The reason is that this allows me, let me change the brush size a bit. This allows me to build up the tones. Notice that? You see that? Let me do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See how it's built up the tones? That gives me that ability. If I had set it 100%, let's see what happens. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's no build-up of tones. It's like an ink. Yeah. So now that was having it 70% gives me a bit of like the ability to mix, or you could say mix colors while you're putting it down by going over it in another stroke. Yeah. So now let's say we pick an 18. Let's see if I want to sort of get the size to be approximately the size of those trunks. But before I do the smaller trees in the back line, I want to try and capture the bigger trees, yeah? The front, so the broad. So I don't want to spend all day making this drawing, and I'm sure you have a lot of time on your hands and a lot of things to do, so we'll probably spend an hour or less doing this. Yeah. So okay, so we're gonna use the color picker and we're gonna lay down the tones first. So at 70%, okay, keep it at that just for now. And here is the beauty of art is that you should never, and also number one point, never be dismissive of any other mediums unless you've tried it. And number two, that's in my number two point, is never assume your art piece is going to look like something it never does. If it is, it would not, you would not enjoy drawing or painting. Every time I make a drawing or painting, believe me, it's amazing how what I learn something new every single time, every painting and drawing, and that's the reason why it spurs me on. So I've got it at 12%, and what I'm going to do is going to cover this canvas really rapidly with the tones that I can see. Let me clear the other, with the tones, the color picker here, and then I'm just going to just use my fingers creating these tones that I'm not too worried about the shapes yet. Remember, Painterly is not about the actual accuracy of the what you're putting down. It is all about seeing shapes and tones. You're seeing tones that gives it a new. So I'm gonna gives it a new meaning to what you're looking at, and your eyes immediately interprets it as a sun or a distant illusion of a sky, of a settling sun. See how I'm picking out the tones that I can see, and then just laying down the tones. So this is like I call this my first pass at a drawing or a painting, and trust me, I know I'm keeping an open mind, and then I know I'm going to learn something. I learned something in the sense that a technique that I have applied due to my open-mindedness of you making this drawing and then having a body of knowledge to be able to draw, paint anything that I want in any shape or form. So let's look what it looks like. Look at that, beautiful painting strokes. How lovely is that, isn't it? That looks like it's an impasto painting. If I were to present that and showed it to you, people would think you've used a brush. No, I haven't. That's Painterly. I've used a brush, but I've used bigger brushes, which actually gives the explanation to that blog post I showed you of the person explaining what Painterly is. So let's just carry on and doing that. Look at this tones, because tones are essential to any painting. If you didn't have tones, where's the form or volume that you're going to create in your painting? Look at that. I'm using my fingers, and I have to say, I used to use a stylus. I have to say, I was using a stylus for the longest time possible, and I just realized that the finger is just as effective, especially when it comes to making painterly drawings, yeah, or paintings. Look, just picking out those tones with my finger. If you're a traditional artist and you like painting, you're probably shocked that, oh, I can do the same on. I can actually, you're right, I can do the same on digital. Incredible. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Why not? It all depends on how people use it. Most people, notice I'm following the strokes of the reason why most people use tools is because they don't have, they have a goal in mind, which is to create all the other digital artwork that is found online, which is anime, fantasy, you name it. And rarely does it come to this kind of artwork. That's because not many people engage in it. They engage in the traditional, but not in the digital. Me, I mean, I love technology. That's why I developed Paintology, and at the same time, I love art as well. So let's do this tree lines. Follow the stroke of the tree, okay? Follow the stroke of the tree. The stroke meaning the form of the tree, okay? And then if you go to, have you noticed how I sort of crisscross when I go to the foliage, I should say foliage, the stroke of the tree, and you can imagine what I'm going to do. I'm going to do something different that I haven't done before. Yeah, look at that. Just fill that in and then follow the direction of the tree growth. That's what I meant. Okay. Okay, so now let's see what we have here. Done that. And now, before we do the tree line, it does make sense to do the colors that exist behind these trees before doing the pronounced tree line. Yeah. So I'm thinking, let's just finish this first, since I'm doing this. So I'm thinking that I'm gonna have a colors that I want in the background before doing the tree in the foreground. So this is something different that I wouldn't normally do, but it becomes natural to me to do that. Yeah. So I'm going to pick that light green there. Can you see it? And then I'm going to increase the brush size so I don't want to spend all the time. Notice that, okay, and then pick that color and then I'm going to do something which is a little interesting. I'm going to take down the density hardness. This is all through trial and error, right? Take down the density hardness and I'm going to keep it to my canvas. But I want to take it down to a little, this lighter tone. Take that all the way. And then I'm going to take that all the way. Okay. And then I'm going to reduce it even more before I do that, but I'm going to do the same on this side. And I'm just trying something. If you don't try, you're not going to achieve it, is it? Then I want to take it down more. This is something I've never tried, but I'm doing it anyway. So what I've done is effectively lifted the lighter tones all the way to the sky. This is implying that I'm gonna have, look at it now. I'm gonna have a lighter tone on the top where the sky meets with the back meets the skyline. Let's take that to, instead of doing that, I could just fill in, because I can keep going over and darken it. And then here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take that and then I'm going to go over it a few times, giving the illusion of some dark patches going around. It's not like a smooth thing, but giving the illusion that they're dark patches as well. not just a simple flat. Alright, so now we've got that. Now what we can do is now go back to what we had, 70. Remember, I'm just creating these techniques as was based on my experience of using these brushes and knowing what they can do. And that's the same with anyone who does oil painting, acrylic brush. They are so tuned with the properties of the brush, the oils, the watercolors, the acrylics, that they can manipulate it to their advantage. And once they've mastered these skills, they can apply it. The creativity comes into it. It's the breadth of creativity coupled with the techniques that allow you allow you to make unique artwork, unique pieces of art that can impress people. Yeah. So this is the line brush I've got, and so I'm just gonna go over and let's see if that looks all right. If it doesn't, you might want to just either increase the hardness, go over it again, give the illusion. Paint, don't forget and don't worry about an exact match. It's not necessary. So we just go over it. Remember, it's darker at the base, the roots, and then just lift it and just get these tree lines in there at the back. All right. Picking out the tones that's already there. That's the beauty of it. So we might make a 2-tree trees out of this one, but we don't know yet. Just work your way, creating a sub. This reminds me of when Bob Ross does his paintings. Makes it look so easy, and he does it so freely. He has no problems in doing something different. He does not feel that he's made a mistake, because if you're following exactly to the image, this is where you're gonna not. If you follow exactly to what your brain's saying, oh, you can't go there because the image doesn't have it, then you're always going to get stuck. You're letting and you're not going to develop the techniques as well as you could. So let's pick the color picker here. Yeah. Pick that line brush, and we can see what I've done is created that background originally, and now essentially just creating the tree lines now and seeing what that's going to give. What do you think, what's going to show up, I wonder? I'm very curious because I'm not assuming that I know what's going to show up, but it will give me the next steps. Look at these little bits and pieces I'm doing here. So this is white, the middle, and then follow that line. We haven't done this tree. Let's follow this tree. And notice that I'm making the strokes, and then by doing that, having that opacity settings, it can get darker where you want to get it darker at the edges and less so in the main body. Look at this white, really lovely yellow type bark. I'd keep following that. Let's see where we are. You can see that's coming in form, isn't it? So now let's see where we are. This is what we have right now. It's painterly effect, isn't it? You can argue that this is totally painterly. So do we have the right size now that we've gone really thin? Yes, I think so. We can reduce it. And then I'm going to increase the density a little bit. I don't know why, but I just feel like it. I'm just experimenting and I hope you are as well. And you could say, well, you should have an answer for everything, you know? Well, if I had an answer for everything, I wouldn't be in this world, would I? You have to experiment. For heaven's sake, people, experiment. You're going to love it. Experimentation is the change in life. Variety is the spice of life, as they say. So if I had an explanation why I'm using this, then I would be sitting up on the bigger throne, right? Alright, so here, doing that. So just experiment. Don't use the color picker, add definition to it, alright? On the edges, if you need to, and then it's all the painterly effect. Painterly meaning that your ideas and thoughts have now taken on a form. I'm surprised nobody uses digital that way, and that's what concerns me a little bit, is that everyone is now thinking that you have to be 15, 16 to do digital. Beyond that, you can't do it. Trust me, it's a beautiful medium to get you learning about painting. You'll express your artwork in other ways. Look at that. Just follow that. And then by doing this, you will be able to come up with new ideas, new techniques. Let's follow this. Let's see what it looks like, shall we? All right, let's see. Oops. All right. So again, you could see the little creative artwork that's going on here. And this is where the drawing process comes into effect. And what is the drawing process? The drawing process is the ability to keep going in stages and drawing with a method in mind, not the end goal, but a method, which is the method is you go from, let's say a drawing is broken down into 20 steps. You go from 0 to 1, and then you go from 1 to 2, 2 to 3. And the reason you go through these steps is that you always reach a particular level in your drawing that immediately tells you and gives you direction to go to the next step. Let's say you're in step 4. Let's say we're in step 4 right now. We can now see how a drawing is coming, is being born, how the painting is being born. And we can see that which areas now we can add as the next phase of our painting. Yeah. So I'm thinking I see a large untouched area in the background, and I should try and complete that, at least get that done before I tackle the foreground here. So I'm thinking we should tackle this. Look at these deep colors. And I'm going to actually take the brush size up a little bit, keep the 80%. Now you can ask me, Neil, what the hell are you doing here? Well, I'm afraid if I have to explain anything, I'm going to go back to my explanation that if I need to explain everything to you that I shouldn't be here, I'm sorry, but that's the explanation I'm going to give you. Why do you think I learn from drawing and painting? It's because I'm trying these new techniques, and you should too. If you don't experiment, you can experiment with other hobbies like cooking or doing other things that you love, yeah? But don't not in drawing or painting if you're not willing to experiment. So again, let me see what that looks like. Just putting these down and giving, it will give me direction what to do in the next. So I'm tackle this. I'm not going overboard and doing completing it. I just want to see how it looks with the little marks that I put. And then we can change it, adjust it to our needs. Just want to see what that looks like. Let's see what it looks like. Yes, that's not bad, is it? It's just a bit, I think the dark colors are a little bit harsh, but if we look at the original, there's sort of quite a bit of dark foliage on there. And then maybe I'm saying I should really tone it down. So this is what we can do on this part, is that I'm going to actually bring down now, experimenting, and then do the same thing on this side to compare what it can look like, yeah? Just to give you an idea what the lighter tones can have a bearing on the overall composition. Because with having this reduced density and hardness is gives you a very lighter tone. That's all it is. And like I said, I'm trying to develop the the, the, the little bastion of tones that will tell me, aha, this is what you want. And that's how artists do their work. They go, oh, aha, this works really well. So that's Painterly for you. You keep painting, drawing, and then there's another bit, the third point I need to tell you, which is not mentioned in the post, is that as you draw, as you paint, it gives you ideas. So you're not doing it just from, because most people see the artwork at the end and they don't know. If you're a practicing artist, you want to know, and that's not easy unless you do it yourself, yeah? So I want to see what that looks like. Put that down. Let me see if that makes a difference. Now you could say that this lighter tone here, does it marry well with the dark foliage there? So I know that when I look at the original, I'm going to create this stream of light which follows the path. And then I like the dark, and then there's going to be that light plant on the left with a little bit of the sun's rays hitting it. So it's going to be, that's going to be contrasting, and it's going to give a very, very striking foreground image. And now with these tones at the back, I can tell you right now what I'm thinking is that the lighter tones and the darker tones together will go perfectly fine. So I'm not going to stick to one or the other to create the top. And then here, this bit here, which I've drawn earlier with the light smaller, does that work? You can ask yourself, does that work with anything that you're going to do with your painterly mindset? And then I'm going to say, well, look at that. Look at this lovely, it's almost like an invitation pathway to get to those tree lines at the back. So let's try and create that. This is experimentation again. See, I had no idea I was going to work on that, but I am. So shall I keep it at this or take it up a little bit? Yep, let's take it up. And then since it's a smaller region, I'm going to take down by a notch and I'm going to see what happens. All right, just pick random colors. All right, I'm going to increase it actually so I can see throughout what I'm doing. Yeah. So picking these. So again, I'm using the reference to pick the so nothing thing. All right, I'm going to pause for a while. Excuse me for a sec. Hello, sorry about the break. So I'm gonna just came back. Someone at the door. All right, and let's see. So here again, take that brush size and just randomly with your fingers, nothing, because you see that tones that this earthly tones on the ground. So we could keep that as dark, isn't it? Let's see what we have here. Yeah, it's sort of growing there, isn't it? And then we can fix it, because right now it's no point fixing it. And then let's focus on this area and see if we can carry it on up to something that we can like for example here, you can see that that's that beautiful light green tone which I want to get. And to do that, I'm going to, because I want to make it more pronounced, I'm going to increase the tone, the hardness, to give that effect, and you can see what it will look like. Remember, it's a lighter tone, so you could look at your drawing or painting all the time, and you'll see how it changes, and then pick the tone. Just a lighter tone. So what's going to happen is, as you remember, here's the difference, is I just realized that as you do more and more of the white, it's actually going to become more white. Look, I'll show you what I mean. Let me go here. Now that's not probably the best place to do it, but I'm going to show you here. Look, see how it becomes more and more with a brighter color. And let me pick this black here, and I'll show you what I mean. The black, see, the black increases in blackness, whereas the light increases in lightness. So keep that in mind. Yeah, this is something which intuitively I knew, but now I'm putting into practice. All right, that's all it is, a mishmash of drawing. That's what Painterly is. A nice effect, right? Let's carry on and do the same thing with the settings we have. This as well, yeah, why not? Because we want to spend all day. You want to carry on doing some other nice drawings, right? So you can shift to yours. Let's see what it looks like. Nicely done. Okay, so now we can say we want to take some of that beauty on the right side that we did and lift it up into this region. Just, and carry that green. And then I think I need to lower it. That's with this, you see, we can get right into the details, but most other artists have the whole canvas. Oops, there, sorry, was in the wrong. Let's see if we've carried some of this colored upwards, because, all right, yeah, so I'm thinking I should go ahead and just finish this, and then just, but this is a black tone. So let's see where we are on that. And then I'm just going to go really fast to finish this, because I know if I don't want to spend too much time. Just create the shape of this, what I'm doing here. Let's see what we have here, yeah? All right, so now I'm just going to work on this, then lift this tones using the brushes I have and just looking at it carefully. I'm not paying attention to I'm not paying attention too much to the reference now. I just want to carry these lovely greenery that lifts up and tries to get sunlight, you know. So I could play with the density to reduce that green. And then have another green that is more in line with what I want. Increase the lower the density. So I'm getting a bit of a handle on this. And then maybe increase the brush. It's experimentation, that's all it is. And reduce the density. Right, keep changing the density. And then we can see what it looks like. Carry that green. Carry the dark green. And see if we've got something that looks like what we want. All right. And then we know the tree lines will fill those gaps. It's all part of the visual imagery. And remember, it's not completely like barren white there, but it's predominantly white. But there will be like those dark trees, you can see there. Just keep filling it in there. See how quickly that came into life. A bit more. This is all Paintology. See that? So we can just. All right, now it's beginning to look good, isn't it? Now, since I have, that's not quite finished, but now I'm going to do some of this lovely foliage here. So I think I'm going to have it a bit higher density, and then pick out some of these tones, and I've got it 4%, and just keep adding these details. Noticing what these areas have this beautiful area. So I've got one tone that I'm using, right? And just while I'm got this tone, I'm just laying it down. Not too worried about, because remember, each time you make a stroke, you're adding textures to that effect, and then applying another one will add another type of effect. This is what I found when I was doing the other previous drawing I showed you, that it gives you an avenue to think about the next step. Is that a tree or no? It's not. So we know that's just the foliage. That, and then look at it again. Yeah, that's looking good, isn't it? And then you can still dab with your fingers, right? Don't be afraid to encroach. Dab. And then what we'll do is we'll create the illusion of form and volume here. And then I'm waiting for my last biggest thing is to create that beautiful path light way. That is. And then anywhere else you can see dark, just do it, you know? It's that even the bark will have a little bit of darkness, right? Remember, I've never made this painting, and I hope you get to a point where you're curious as me and make beautiful artwork that you can be pleased with. Okay, the same tone, just going over it, yeah, just giving it a little bit of volume, you know, covering the white parts. See a different approach here. So now you can see you can now pick another tone that is consistent with this, but I'm still not focusing on these lighter tones like this beautiful, almost like a ball of light coming there. Another streak of light here, which I plan to use in the painting. And then another beautiful spot of light, almost like a spotlight has gone on this beautiful plant here, right? So we're going to do that. But before I do that, let's pick, we can lighten the tone two ways. We can pick a lighter green, and if you see anything on your palette, pick that color and let's see what it looks like. Gives volume, right? Look, I'm just adding volume. I'm going to take it down. Look. Just giving a sense of it's breaking down and giving the illusion of something, some other plants are doing their job there as well. And then even here, you know, this will be the framework for that nice plant that I plan to do, right? And then take the density down if you have to, and apply another. All right, dab, and sometimes a line, dab. All right. Now, what's it saying? It's saying I should do something on the foreground. So my eyes are now slowly moving to this beautiful foreground, and I'm thinking, how am I going to do it? Again, increase density, increase the brush size, and then see what happens. Pick out the tones that are already there. So what I'm doing now is basically I'm just picking out the tones from that's already I've laid down. So color picker and pick out my color tones I've already got down here. right? Gives that more volume and shape. And if it's not working, try and do something different. Crisscross. The beauty of nature is that crisscross, crisscross. Let's see what that looks like. It's got more shape, isn't it? This one's coming like a hill. Right. All right. And now we can say, well, what else do we want? Look, this dark area is saying, now I think what I'll do is before the foliage covers the entire path, I'm going to pick that beautiful ball of fire in there and then start creating that. Yeah. And take it down if you have to. Let's create the ball of fire that's making up the path. Take it down. Right. And then you can even add your own ball of fire. Oh wow, there, look at that. Make it different. It's not the same way. Look how that's turned out to be, and take that color and then increase it. Right. Yeah, reduce the density a little bit. Right there. Isn't that lovely, isn't it? Going at the same color there. It's almost like, invitation to get into this tree line, and then add a little bit of white. I'm thinking if you don't find the white, then add that. So I'm just using my experience. Look there, look at that. Beautiful. And then we can add more around it. And now you can see there's that area that we need to shape up, yeah? So take that size down, right, and just build up. You don't want to think of it like a bunch of sticks there, isn't it? You want to show that there's something going on there. Otherwise, things are going to fireworks, isn't it? There, look at that, it's shaping. And there's more light there. So stick to this brush. And I'm gonna go for a darker color. And then just crisscross. And then even go for increase that. Notice I'm increasing the density because I haven't experimented. Look, you think I know all the answers? Again, it boils down, do I know all the answers to everything? If I was, I didn't have to show you this. And I wouldn't be doing it, also learning at the same time. And why would you want someone who already knows what he's doing, done it 1,000 times? Says, what can you learn from that person? Not a lot. They're using that dark thing to create some kind of distant while you're doing it, yeah? There, look. Let's see what it looks like. Wow. This is really turning out to be interesting, isn't it? Okay, now you can see there's almost a build-up of trees there, right? But it's extending beyond those trees. So it gives the illusion that you want to take this user on a journey behind those trees as well, right? Behind those tree lines. And something warm and inviting. Maybe someone holding a hot cup of coffee at the end of it. Something warm and inviting for you there. Look, we're using the lighter tone to break, to give the illusion that without really creating anything, it just creates the illusion there is something, that there's a form and shape, and the eyes are really working. And look at this one here. It looks like this is a path. Remember I told you there was a path in there. Look how the painting has taken form. There's a path that seems to go up there, but I almost feel like there's that bush, and there should be a no entry sign here, yeah? It's like a large bush, isn't it? Those trees show the line of trees that is telling you there's nothing beyond. If you want to go there, by all means go there, but unfortunately you're going to get stuck. You know, you have to find yourself. Just do that. There's invitation to go. Come and see what I'm behind the bush. Maybe a big bird or a snake waiting there for you. Yes, we kept that tree line there, and now our eyes are focused on here. What goes here? Maybe that is the tree, the area that probably has a doorway to where you want to go, another route. Yeah. Right, then take it greener. See how I'm using again. Got great body like that. Okay. Down. And it's saying that there is a path there if you want to. Look, I'm going to create this nice little path for you there. Look. Okay. Look. Do you want to come? Yeah, look, it starts from here. Right, so you can go along that tree. You can hardly see it obviously on the screen, but the viewer will see it. Now you can see how the elements I've drawn here has to be diffused. I feel like there has to be diffused. I cannot use the same harsh. So I'm gonna try and take a brush and just diffuse that line of the harshness here, but keep some of the harshness. Don't, because sometimes it's needed because there's a dark patch which the sun is not going to get to. Just toning it down in line with the rest of the composition. Yeah, and then this could also be a toning down, so let's go for a bit higher and then darker. Let's see if we've got any colors in the palette. That's a really good, ooh, very tough and a very green. So let's take that down. Right, so we want to take this. Remember we started doing this, which in my opinion was a little bit of a mistake, but we can correct it. That's the beauty of painting and drawing. You can correct it. Just a mishmash of colors that we were doing on the ground. And if you want to completely remove that area, we can. Let's do it. I'll show you what I mean. So go here and pick which color. I'm going to pick the white. Okay. Here, and then take it all the way. So easy. And then before I do that, let's see what happens. Try it, see what happens. No big deal. Look at that. And then same here, we selected green. Okay, it's 100%. And then take some of that darkness out. Okay. Again, something new that I'm doing. And now what we can do is I want to finish the top, this top part. I want to finish that just to make it in line and composition of the rest. And to do that, I'm just going to experiment. Trust me, I've really no idea what to do right now. If you were to ask me, come on, give me something solid to work with. Well, then you wouldn't be drawing, would you? If I had the answers, would you? No, I'm just experimenting. I can add more details to these tree lines, but right now, there's that sort of that tree. I do love that, the way that tree, that's sort of telling it's almost come to its life, end of its life. And pick that blue light color, take it along, and then take this color, just take it along. Select the color because it's at the back, so I don't want any harsh color, right? That diffuse, some kind of a diffuse color, because it's at the distance, right? I just want to see what happens doing that. Okay, let's see what we have. Yes, getting better, isn't it? Although this line of this dark patch here, I feel like I could take that color and take it really way down and increase. And let's see what happens. Right, diffuse that the dark, then take it up. Okay, because I want to diffuse that area, and now I'm using. Right, it's like almost saying that the sunlight is masked by these. Let's see what it looks like. And they're just a little bit, not too much on this side. And then we can see what that looks like. If it has the effect, it has sort of the effect of illusion that that the trees end up with a lot of leaves at the top, right? Okay. Just that. Okay. So pick the darker colors, because now we know that there are tree leaves associated with it. So if you're not getting the dark, increase the dark. Now I'm actually leaving the other settings. Let's see what it looks like. Better, isn't it? Sort of coming towards what we want. Now we can increase even more the dark. And then just as the effects, it's just the effects you want to create. Right? And then the same tree lines, the the illusion of, let's see what it looks like. Very nice. And then if we want to, we can pick a more lighter tone and just bring that down here. Right. That you can see is art coming to life, right? And then we can, if we want to, take that color and say, you know, I'm going to get something a little lighter where the sunlight is trying to poke its way through the tree lines. All right. Then you can say, you know what, I want to get it even lighter. The sunlight, look at that. The sunlight is hitting that, trying to peek its way down. All right, so we got that, and now you can see how the whole composition changes. So let's finish this tree. Let's take it down, and then now we've got. Now I can see what density and hardness does. Yeah, if you want to know how it does, experiment. For heaven's sake, let's take this down here where it was and take that. Experiment. Because if you need to have an answer for everything, what's the point of drawing, right? Look, this has a different feel and effect. I don't know what, but if it does the job, then why not? Now with this, let's just bring that down, and that, and then there. Look at that tree line there. That's not, that tree there is not doing so well. So I think I would prefer bringing it down again together. Let's see. It's darker color. Let's pick the darker. Let's pick the dark. Okay. Then we can pull in. Let's see what happens. Oh, interesting, isn't it? Very interesting what we have done here. And there's a light here, which I believe is part of the tree because hitting it, right? But it's not too, how do you call it? It's not too light. Let's see, it's sort of hitting that, and then maybe stretch it. No, actually, reduce the density more and see what happens. There. See how it's sort of moving. All about experimentation. Now, what do we have here? Well, we can see right away we need to, almost done, right? We need to tidy up some areas. Okay, so what is that? What is that tree? That tree, I need to focus my attention on that tree. So now let's go back. Interesting. Okay. So let's add some character to this tree. Then we can always draw the shadows afterwards. Let's see what we have here. Nicely done. What color we are? Dark brown. Well, as you know, foliage isn't always about the, okay, so go, that's a good one, yeah, so Add that there. And now that's much better, isn't it? Now what's going on here? You can see, well, let's diffuse it and give food for thought. Right, see, I'm running around along with this. It's only because I'm now using my eyes to create the drawing here, to create the painting. And then maybe pick this color and then just work it down. Then what is this? That lighter, that's light. So we're gonna darken this area of the tree. And if it's not dark enough, then pick something darker, right? Giving volume. You're just giving volume. That's all. Beautiful nature. Now you can say that tree there, is that necessary? Well, maybe perhaps not. So I'm gonna cover it up there. Yeah, why not? Have this. What have we got here? All right. Really focus. Ooh, there. Let's add this. Let's add the notion that. Sorry, I'm talking to myself. But you can see how, where the fun of art comes in now. Just following. Right, so got here. Look what we have here. Now these are following. It's almost like the painting is telling me what to do. Yeah, just the drawing process. So I'm enjoying this actually. It's beautiful. Texture, isn't it? Everything has a texture. It's dark, dark. Using the tones, the dark tones, as you can see. Even at the back, but don't get carried away too much. Let's pick that and let's refine this a little bit. All right, so now what we can do is, we know there's a path going on down there, right? Remember I was going to do that flower. I feel like I've got to do justice to this. You could probably bring it to an end now, but you can probably do some justice. And so now let's turn back to this plant that's getting the full glory of light. And let's lift that up. Now you can see why I need to lift that up. Let's draw the basis of the shape first, the plants. Right, just the basis. and let's see what it looks like. Wow, look at that. It's a beauty, isn't it? That's almost like saying you just put me on earth without even doing much, yeah? Put me on earth. Let's get that green. Let's get that green, yeah. Look at that beautiful plant. And then let's pick another darker color that just basically just adding volume to that. Let's see what that looks like. Oh yes, isn't that it's so good, isn't it? And then we can take the brush down. Never assume a picture is dyed or whatever. Let's take that and pick different colors and diffuse that area. Look at that, taking it and just trying to make it fit with the rest of the composition. There, isn't it? And then maybe like Bob Ross would say, have another happy plant over there. Yeah, have the illusion of another plant and then keep working your way. Give the illusion that this tree, this tree as a friend, right? That's probably how he does it. So now you know some of his secrets. I'll just add textures. All right, so look at that. It's coming out nicely. And then bring this down. Then take some of that green, disperse it around a little bit. So disperse it around because this plant gives the illusion that there is more of their roots growing. Look at that. So we can create some kind of a banking area going on. Let's save that. Okay. Oh, sorry, I might be mumbling now, but I hope you should go. You should go towards where you can start mumbling yourself. Yeah, then you'll know. When you're mumbling, you are really into the drawing, isn't it? You're not waiting for others to tell you what to do. That's exactly what I need you to do, right? Okay, go there, and just create that. Look at that there. Let's see what we have here. Oh, lovely. It looks like that trees has been somehow interfered with human intervention, right? That they're trying to create this nice line of plants, or maybe they've put that plant, who knows, right? Maybe that someone's placed that plant. It's almost like having fun with this. Oops, get that color off. Pick a different color. Let's see if that works. Yes, of course. Works. Right, illusion. That's all it is. A bit of illusion. Well, I think we're done. If you can see any areas that needs being addressed, right, this is the Painterly way of drawing, and I'm drawing this on my phone, right? Set the illusion of the dark colors, and if you want to see how I've created the sunsets, you can check that out on my YouTube channel as well. Let's give some white. Oh, it will be really harsh. So you need to use it sparingly. Give the illusion that there is that bit of, and then use some of the dark. Very sparingly. Remember, the trees can have the lines running across it. All right, so I don't want to go too deep into this, but you can see from this, let's try and arrange that, because you're going to get lots of ideas. Let's take that down. I'm going to add that little bit of whiteness that's showing here. Right, it's almost like the sun has hit that area as well. So, oh yes, that gives it a sense that. And then there'll be occasions when the sun's dripping through some leaves. All right. And then let's make that. We don't want to make it like a puddle, right? All right, so let's see what we have here. Then some dark here. I just want to add a bit of darkness to this. Let's see what it looks like. Well, okay, not bad, yeah. So I think you'd agree that now you can see that these can be diffused. Make that, pick a color, make that diffused. Right? Take away the harshness, right? There at the top as well. And then add this brown. Alright, let's see what that looks. Yeah, it's pretty good, isn't it? And I would say, I would say it's almost complete, right? Alright, so let's take that up. Next color we got. Let's take that. Any shapes that will work, yeah? It doesn't have to be exact shape. And so there is a painterly drawing. You show that to anyone, they'll say, nah, we didn't do that digitally, did you? Yeah. So here, I hope I've shown you a nice way. Add a little bit of detail at the front, right? Why not? Okay, and then maybe, sorry, I could carry on and on this, isn't it? It's not what I want to do. I just want to Alright, there you are. That probably gives the illusion what we're looking for. Take it down if something is. Brush over it. See, that looks like something's growing and covering it. Happens all with experience. I don't know how Bob Ross can talk so long and still make it interesting, but you can see what you can do with this simple method of painterly drawing. Gives the illusion of a forest, doesn't it? And that's good. I'm getting carried away actually. I want to stop, but this painting's not letting me stop. Come on. Use different techniques. Dab, 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 dab. Dab, 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 dab. And just let one color go encroach to another area. Dab, dab, dab. All right. Okay, I don't know if you've seen in there, but anyway, let me sign it. And we'll call it quits. Okay. Use the green. What green shall I use? That green. Paint. Okay. Paint. Paintology. All right, there you are. You can see. Let's look at the original. Look at that. It doesn't have any bearing on the original. But that just to show you that with digital you can do painterly effects. Don't let others tell you otherwise. If they do, just point them to Paintology. So I hope you've really enjoyed this as much as I have painting this, and then I hope to see you again for another session. Don't forget to subscribe and also put in comments anything that you like. Why? And if you have something that is not to your liking, at least say something fruitful to that effect. Why? What was the reason you didn't like it? And perhaps I can give you pointers and directions, and instead of just dismissing it like something you don't like and you don't know why. Okay, then many people can have that kind of thinking, especially when we live in a social world there. Anything you say has little impact. Well, it can have a big impact, but it doesn't come back to you, right? So I hope you had a great time, and I'd love to do another session tomorrow again, and you can come and watch me do that. So thank you, and bye bye.